A common challenge in retirement, especially early retirement, is how to move from saver to spender. Those of you with a large pension don't really understand this. Those of you like me that are depending on our assets and our investments to pay for our retirement, this is a big deal. You want to enjoy your retirement, but you don't want to outspend it. So where's that magic line of how much I can spend, when you don't know the returns, that you don't know what the stock market or the real estate market, wherever your investments are, how that is going to play out over the next 30 years. How do you do that? So very common for me in my coaching sessions with people like you is to help them through what I did. Okay. And this is an answer for me. This helps me. And so I thought I would share it here in a video. This is a big deal. Those of you that are working will not understand this being a big deal because you're very confident. When you're working, you got that, the stock market goes down 25, 30%, you say, hey, I'll just work another year or I'll just keep working. You don't really notice it. When you're dependent on your assets to give you a return and you don't have that income, it's a much bigger deal. It's a big deal with gasoline on it. I mean, it's very, very challenging. So I thought I would share the 5 things that I do to help me, give me great confidence in moving from saver to spender. And please hang on for number 5. I'm telling you, number 5 is a shock to most people that I talk to. The people that seek out my coaching, they go, hey, I've never thought of it that way. That's the most common response I get to number 5. I've never thought of it that way. So it'll probably be a surprise for you. Let me know. So, hey, number 1, know your numbers. Yeah, this is a given, but I got to start with this one. I do a quarterly review of my numbers. What month, what are our expenses? I don't do monthly expenses, don't do weekly expenses. I average that out over 3 months, and then that takes smooths out the outliers, if that makes sense. If you have a large expense in 1 month, you maybe spend under the next 2 months and it averages out. So don't get excited and whipsaw your spending around because of one bad month. So know your numbers, where your money's going, expenses, what are your returns, include one-time expenses. I do Monte Carlo simulations during this day. I look at different inflation numbers, different rates of return. I know my taxes. I have a tax plan. This is huge for me in my situation. It's your biggest expense. Most people listen here. Taxes are going to be their biggest expense, and most people don't have a plan for it. Don't make any surprises. Have a plan. Your plan here, this is a little bit frustrating, but you need to have a plan. You need to understand the plan, but you also must recognize your plan is going to be wrong. Your return's not going to be what you estimate it to be. It's going to be higher or lower. I tell you, it's going to be higher or lower. Expenses are going to be higher or lower than what you expect. But you know the levers. So when bad news happens, you know the other 10 levers. Hey, that's no problem. I'll just delay this. That's no problem. I'll add this. Oh, we're having a good year. Let's move up that vacation. There's different things you can do when you know the levers, and it comes from having a plan. Also, when you know your numbers, you know that if you have a bad quarter, you have a bad year, things are still going to work out. So, it's not like one bad year is going to ruin your 30-year retirement. So that comes from knowing your numbers. Also, you need to stress test your plan with somebody besides you, okay? This can be a financial advisor. That can be an expensive route, but an asset under management person, you need to run this by somebody else. You can do this with an hourly rate financial advisor. You can get a group of friends together. You can get a close friend together. Some people reach out to me. I can't do everybody, but I do a handful of these a week where I'm just a person looking for holes in a plan, not giving advice, but looking at how I would play the cards for myself and give you things to think about. But how are you going to stress test your plan? So that's a huge one, number 1. That's the table stakes. Everybody's got to do that. Okay. Second thing I do is I model spending plus $1,000, okay, per month. So I go through that same analysis. So when I'm looking at everything and projecting based on my current spending, I do that. Then I add $1,000 to it. And that gives me comfort in saying, hey, if I spend $1,000 more, I know what that looks like. What's my probability of success? What do my account balances do? I know what that looks like. That's number 2. Pretty easy one, but critical for me. Number 3, I use buckets to protect me from market drama. Okay, I've made a lot of videos on buckets. I have 3 buckets. Bucket number 1, 4 years of expenses. Bucket number 2, out of the market, okay, not linked to the stock market. Bucket number 2, 4 years of expenses, okay? I got those that's in the stock market, but in balanced funds and in, as well as dividend paying stocks, just kind of some, good blue chip, solid companies that, historically do pretty well. And, they're not the growth stocks out there, if that makes sense. So, and then I have everything else in bucket 3. So buckets protect you from market drama. So right now we're down 20% after 2022. I had 4 years of expenses at the beginning of 2022. I'm sitting here at about 3 years of expenses. I do nothing. I know I have 3 more years to ride out what's happening here. So I just go about my normal spending. Very little change happens in my spending habits because I know I got 3 years for the market to recover. I probably will start to get a little stressed when I only have 1 year, okay? But I'm at 3 years right now. This is why I always keep bucket 1 kind of topped off, but I only top that off when the market recovers to near new highs, if that makes sense. So a lot of discussion on buckets. It's pretty simple process, but it is to buffer you from market drama to allow you to spend. Okay, it allows me to spend. I'm not worried that the stock market's down 20% right now. Historically, I know it's going to recover. Don't know when, but inside the next 12 months, normal spending, right? Makes sense. Hopefully that makes sense too. So buckets buffer the drama, okay? Number 4, and this is related to market drama, but do not look at your net worth daily, okay? I look at my net worth, I'll be honest, it's probably once a month. I need to get to once a quarter, where I just do this once a quarter exercise. But it's so easy on your phone. But it really, when you see the market's down, you lost $100,000, $200,000, $500,000, it hits you pretty hard, and you want to tighten that belt and not do the spending. Okay, so I'm not strange video. I'm leaving you to spend money, but this is a tool to allow me to have my epic retirement, to allow me to live in those go-go years and not be whipsawed around by all the negative news that can be out there. So don't look at your net worth daily. So hey, here's number 5. And this is what I surprise everybody with. So I'm going to have to go into a little detail on this one because it's a little bit complicated. I think it's simple, but it's in my mind. Have a safe exit plan, okay? Have a floor, okay, of what if everything goes wrong, okay? What's my backstop? What's my safety net if everything in the stock market just goes wrong? My plan, big part of my plan, is delaying Social Security to 70. And have no debt. So I don't have a housing expense, delay my Social Security to 70. That maximizes my payment. Social Security, if you're in the United States, you can take that as early as 62. It increases about 8% on average up to age 70. That's a fantastic return. It's adjusted up for inflation, and it's something I can come real close to living on if I don't have a house payment, okay? So that can be that's my backstop safety net, is Social Security. Some people look at Social Security and say, hey, I want to take that as soon as I can. I want to take that at 62. I want that to be during my go-go years. And I just want to have my money when I'm young. I don't want my money when I'm 75 and 80. I want it when I'm 62. Hey, this is my backstop. I use that as a tool. All my investments go to zero. My Social Security is at the maximum amount, okay? And that's not a bad place to be. Maximum amount with no debt. I also got a reverse mortgage, or can get a reverse mortgage. That's part of my toolkit, my safety net, right? Reverse mortgage. I do have all that value in my house. Get part-time work. Can I go out and do part-time work? Or my wife go out and do part-time work? Yeah, especially while I'm younger, still healthy. This may not play out when you're 80, but at least right now, for the next 10, 15 years, it's an option. I can rent out a room. I got a 5-bedroom house here. Can you rent out some space for somebody? Maybe it's a relative or a friend or somebody that you can rent a room out for $500. That's $500. That's an option. Know your minimum spend level. What can you get down to? Cut out the newspaper, cut out cable, cut out all your streaming, cut out everything. What can you exist on? Cut out going out to eat. And that gives me comfort. I know the floor and I can exist on that. Hopefully that makes sense. This safety net is a big deal to me. It's a very big deal. What's your safety net? Do you have a safety net in case all your investments go to nothing? This gives me comfort to spend money, okay, which is the topic of this video. So great comfort in spending comes when you know the realistic worst case, you know your numbers, you got a plan that you've thought about. So once a quarter, I go into that plan and I decide whether I'm in good shape or not and what actions I want to take. So these are the 5 things I do. What do you do? Okay, so if I missed anything, please tell me where you're from and tell me what action you take to help you move from saver to spender. And if you don't have any new ideas and you're just listening and you enjoy the content, tell me where you're from. People, I love it. I love telling my wife I got a comment from Scotland. I got one from Hong Kong. I got one from Indonesia. I got one from Topsail, North Carolina. So please let me know where you're from as you leave a comment. This is Joe out.